Captain Ethan Morris stood at the large window of the Earth Embassy on Galaxis Prime. He watched the alien ships come and go in the busy spaceport. His blue uniform was crisp and neat, but his face showed his tiredness. For 6 hours, he had sat in the Galactic Council chambers. For 6 hours, he had heard the aliens talk about humans like they were useful pets. Lisa Wright joined him at the window. She was Earth's main diplomat to the Council. Her hair was dark with streaks of gray, and her eyes were sharp. She had fought for human rights in the Council for 15 years. They said no again, Ethan said. He did not need to explain. They both knew what today's vote was about. For the 5th time, Earth had asked to be a full member of the Council with equal voting rights. Lisa nodded. 50 years we've helped them. 50 years we've fixed their problems. And still they see us as the new kids, not ready for a real seat at the table. In the 50 years since humans had joined the Galactic Alliance, they had changed everything. Human engineers fixed problems alien scientists had struggled with for centuries. Human soldiers kept peace in war zones where no other species would go. Human doctors found cures that saved millions of alien lives. Yet the Council still called Earth a provisional member. Humans could work for the Council, but could not vote on its laws. Ethan turned from the window. The Caraxian said we should wait another 100 years before asking again. His exact words were that humans are too emotional and unpredictable to have real power. Lisa's face grew hard, and this from a race that changes its mind with each new crystal growth on their bodies. She checked that no alien listening devices were near. Then she pulled out a small black device and pressed her thumb to it. A secure line opened to Earth. "Madam President, they rejected our petition again," she said. Her voice was calm, but her free hand was tight in a fist. "I believe it's time for planned exodus." There was a pause, then President Diane Foster's voice came through. "Are you certain, Ambassador? Once we start, there's no going back." "I'm certain," Lisa said. "They will never see us as equals. They will use us forever if we let them." "Very well," the President said. "I'll alert the colonies. Begin your part of the preparations. And Lisa, history will remember this day." The line went quiet. Lisa put the device away and looked at Ethan. "It's happening," she said. "Operation Exodus is starting." Ethan took a deep breath. Like all Earth military leaders, he had been briefed on the plan. If the Council rejected humanity one more time, Earth would leave the Alliance. All humans, from all colonies and stations across Council space, would pack up and disappear into unexplored regions of the galaxy. "How long do we have?" he asked. 6 months to prepare without them noticing," Lisa said. "We need to quietly move our people, our ships, and our technology. Nothing important can be left behind for them to use or study." Ethan nodded. "My ship leaves tomorrow. I'll start spreading the word through military channels." "Be careful," Lisa warned. "I'll keep attending Council meetings, acting normal. They must not suspect anything until it's too late." They looked out at the busy spaceport again. Hundreds of ships from 42 alien species moved about. None of them knew that humans would soon be gone. "They think they can't fail because they're ancient," Lisa said softly. 9,000 years, the Council has stood. They think they'll stand 9,000 more. "They're wrong," Ethan said. "They needed us more than we needed them. They just don't know it yet." Lisa's comm device beeped. Another Council meeting was starting. "Let's give them what they expect," she said, straightening her jacket. "A helpful, obedient human, grateful for any attention from the mighty Council." Ethan saluted as she left. The countdown to humanity's great disappearance had begun. Dr. Alan Summers worked in his lab deep under the Rocky Mountains on Earth. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. For 3 weeks, he had been working on a special project. Today, he was close to finishing it. "Hand me the quantum stabilizer, please," he said to his assistant. Olivia Carter picked up a small silver tool and passed it to him. Her brown hair was tied back in a messy ponytail. Like Alan, She had been working day and night on their secret project. "Do you think it will work?" she asked. Alan adjusted something inside the device on his workbench. "It has to work. If the Council detects our ships leaving, they'll try to stop us." The device looked simple, a small metal box with blue lights, but it was special. It could hide human ships from alien sensors. With this stealth technology, the Council would not see humanity's great escape until it was too late. "One more test," Alan said. He turned the device on. On a screen nearby, a small dot representing the device disappeared. "Perfect. It's invisible to all known Council scanning methods." Olivia smiled. "How many can we make before Exodus Day?" "Enough for our main ships," Alan said. "The colonies will need to share." Across the solar system, and in 27 human colonies, similar scenes played out. People packed up their homes. Engineers prepared ships for long journeys. Farmers stored food supplies. All was done quietly, with no mention to their alien neighbors. In a secure room at Earth Defense Headquarters, Commander Frank Martinez studied star maps. He marked safe routes for human ships, away from busy Council space. His job was to make sure all humans could leave without being stopped. "Sir, we have reports from New Mars," said a young officer. "They've started moving essential equipment to their ships." Frank nodded. "Good. And Luna Base? They'll be ready in 4 months, right on schedule." Frank looked at the blinking dots on his screen. Each dot was a human settlement, outpost, or science station. All would need to be emptied. No one would be left behind. "What about defense?" he asked. "If the Council finds out early and tries to stop us?" The officer touched a screen, showing Earth's military ships. "We're keeping our warships till the end. They'll guard the civilian transports as they leave." Meanwhile, Ambassador Lisa Wright continued her work at the Council. Each day, she sat through boring meetings. She coded on small issues. She acted exactly as she always had. After a meeting about trade rules, the blue crystal alien named Zorax approached her. He was the Exoraxian who had insulted humans at the membership vote. "Ambassador Wright," he said, his voice making a sound like bells. "I hope there are no hard feelings about the membership vote. You understand, these things take time." Lisa forced a smile. "Of course, Counselor. Humans are patient." "Good, good," Zorax said. "We have a situation in the Proxima system. Some technology problems at the mining stations. We thought perhaps some human engineers could help. They are so good with practical matters." Lisa nodded politely. "I'll send a team right away." As Zorax moved away, Lisa made a note in her secure device. "Proxima system. No more human engineers after current team leaves. Let them fix their own problems." Back on Earth, President Diane Foster addressed her cabinet in a secure meeting room. 2 months have passed," she said. "The Council suspects nothing. Dr. Summers has completed the stealth technology. Commander Martinez has mapped safe routes for all our ships." She stood tall, her face serious. "In 4 more months, humanity leaves the Galactic Alliance forever. We will find our own path among the stars, free from those who see us as tools rather than equals." The cabinet members nodded. The great secret was being kept. The countdown to Exodus Day continued. The day finally arrived with no special mark on any alien calendar. For the Council races, it was just another rotation of their worlds. For humans, it was the day everything would change. Lieutenant Heather Phillips stood on the bridge of her ship near New Mars Colony. She watched her screen as a message appeared. "Exodus protocol activated." "It's time," she said to her crew. Her voice was calm, but her heart beat fast. They had trained for this day for months. All across human space, the same message appeared on screens. From Earth to the farthest human mining stations, people began their final moves. They had packed their things. Their ships were ready. Now they would leave. On the colony ships around New Mars, families settled into their rooms. Engineers started the engines. Slowly, the big ships moved away from the docking stations. Heather's job was to make sure all ships turned on their stealth devices. Dr. Summers' invention worked perfectly. On her screen, she watched as ship after ship disappeared from normal sensors. All colony ships from New Mars are away, she reported through a secure channel. Moving to escort position. Her small military ship moved into place. Though no one could see them, she knew 15 large colony ships were now heading away from Council space. Back on Earth, President Diane Foster stood before hundreds of people in a large underground room. Cameras sent her image to all humans who were still on the planet. "Today we begin our journey," she said. Her voice was strong. "For too long, we have given our best to the Galactic Alliance. We have solved their problems. We have healed their sick. We have protected their borders. Yet still, they see us as less than them." The crowd was quiet, listening carefully. "We did not make this choice lightly," the president continued. "We tried for 50 years to be accepted as equals, but the Council has shown us that will never happen. So today we choose our own path. Today, humanity leaves to find its place among the stars." People began to move toward the ships waiting in Earth's big spaceports. There was no panic. Everyone knew what to do. In orbit around Earth, the first ships quietly slipped away, hidden by stealth devices. By the time the president finished her speech, 30% of all human ships had already left Council space. On the Council homeworld, Ambassador Lisa Wright attended one last meeting. The alien representatives talked about trade routes and minor disputes. None of them noticed anything strange about the human ambassador. When the meeting ended, Lisa walked calmly to her office. She packed a small bag with personal items. Then she sent one last message to all human staff on the Council world. Time to come home. She left her office without looking back. Her small ship was waiting. By the time the Council noticed she was gone, she would be far away, heading to join the human fleet. The exodus moved with perfect order. Each colony, each outpost, each science station emptied of humans. They took their tools. They took their technology. They took everything they had built or invented. Commander Frank Martinez watched from his command ship as the reports came in. New Mars clear. Europa Station clear. Alpha Centauri colonies clear. One by one, human settlements reported that all their people were safely away. The military ships stayed till the end, making sure no one was left behind. 6 hours after the exodus began, the first Council alarm sounded. A Volturian trade ship arrived at a human mining station and found it empty. No humans, no equipment, nothing left. The Volturian captain sent an urgent message to the Council. "Something strange is happening. The humans are gone." But by then, it was too late. Most of humanity had already vanished, heading to new stars and new beginnings, far from the Council's reach. Councillor Zeltrax slammed his 4 arms on the table. His purple skin turned almost black with anger. Around him, the great Council chamber was filled with shouting aliens from many worlds. "What do you mean the humans are gone?" he demanded. "People don't just disappear. Where would they go? Why weren't we told about this?" The Galactic Council had called an emergency meeting. For 3 days, reports had come in from across Council space. Human colonies were empty. Human ships had vanished. Human workers had not shown up for their jobs. The Council head, a tall, thin alien named Frill, tried to keep order. "Please, everyone calm down. We must discuss this with clear minds." But no one listened. The Volturian treasurer, who breathed methane instead of oxygen, bubbled with worry. "Human-run trade centers are shutting down across the galaxy. Markets are already crashing on 6 worlds." The security chief, a rock-like being from a heavy-gravity world, added more bad news. "Human peacekeeping forces have left 17 conflict zones. Fighting has already started again in 12 of them." Zorax, the blue crystal Xeraxian, who had insulted humans at their last membership request, seemed the most upset. "This is clearly planned. They took everything. Their technology, their ships, their knowledge. We must find them and bring them back. The council chamber grew even louder with arguments. Some wanted to send ships to search for the humans. Others wanted to punish any humans who might still be in council space. Vril finally managed to quiet the room. "We have located Ambassador Wright's ship," he said. "We've sent messages, but she doesn't answer." "Track her ship," Zorax demanded. "She will lead us to where the humans are hiding." The security chief shook his rocky head. "We lost her ship's signal 6 hours after she left. It's like it disappeared from space itself." Across the room, a small green alien spoke up. She was from a race known for their wisdom. "Perhaps we should ask why they left, not just where they went." Zorax's crystal body flashed with angry colors. "We gave them everything. We let them join our council when they barely had space travel. We gave them worlds to colonize. We taught them about the galaxy." The green alien was not impressed. "And what did we ask in return? They solved our hardest problems. They fixed technology we couldn't understand. They fought in wars we didn't want to fight ourselves. When did we ever treat them as equals?" The room grew quiet. Many council members looked uncomfortable. Then the treasurer spoke again. "The mining colony in the Rigel system has reported total equipment failure. The human engineers always maintain their gravity devices. Without them, the mines are collapsing." More bad news followed. A medical center on a major world reported that human doctors had left, taking their advanced treatments with them. A space station near a dangerous part of space said that without human patrol ships, pirates were already attacking trading vessels. Vril looked around the room at the worried faces. "I think we are only seeing the beginning of what their absence will mean." The council voted to send ships to find the humans. 20 fast scout ships left that same day, heading in different directions. But they found nothing. Some human ships had left fake trails. Others had used their stealth technology to vanish completely. 5 days later, the scout ships returned with no good news. The humans had disappeared without a trace. In his private chamber, Vril spoke with his oldest advisor. "In 9,000 years, nothing like this has happened. The council has always been the center of galactic power." The advisor looked troubled. "The humans were different from other species we've known. More adaptable, more creative. And now they're gone," Vril said quietly. "I fear the council will learn just how much we depended on them." Outside the window, the busy spaceport had already changed. Fewer ships came and went. Some trading lanes were closed due to pirate activity. The first cracks in the mighty Galactic Council had begun to show. 3 months passed since the humans left. Across council space, the problems grew worse each day. The Promethean Mining Guild lost 6 of their biggest mines when the special gravity machines failed. No one else knew how to fix the human technology. The cost of shipping goods between worlds went up 4 times. Pirates attacked trade ships on routes that human security forces used to protect. Food became hard to find on some worlds. People began to worry. On the beautiful resort world of Epsilon Eridani, Councillor Ulthrak sat in a quiet garden. The spaceport nearby, once busy with ships, now had few visitors. Next to him sat his friend from the Centauri Alliance. "We never realized how much we depended on them," Ulthrak said, his 3 eyes looking sad. "The humans were everywhere, doing so many jobs. Now they're gone, and we can't replace them." His friend nodded. "My scientists have tried to copy human inventions. They can't do it. The humans didn't just take their bodies. They took their ideas and their way of thinking." Ulthrak sighed. "The council is meeting again tomorrow. More fighting, more blame, no solutions." Far away from council space, the human fleet had found a new home. Commander Nickel Warren stood on a hill, looking at the new settlement they called New Horizon. Already, houses and farms spread across the valley. The first city on their first independent world. "It's beautiful," said a voice behind her. Nickel turned to see President Foster walking up the hill. "Madam President," Nickel said with respect, I didn't know you were visiting New Horizon today. Diane Foster smiled. I wanted to see our progress with my own eyes. How are the defenses coming? Nickel pointed to the sky where small shapes moved. We have patrol ships in orbit. Early warning systems are active. If the Council finds us, we'll know they're coming. They're still looking, the President said, but they won't find us unless we want to be found. They walked down the hill toward the new city. People were busy building homes, planting crops, setting up workshops. There was purpose in their movements. They were building something new, something that was truly theirs. Any regrets? Nickel asked quietly. The President thought for a moment. I miss Earth sometimes, but we took seeds, animals, water, soil, pieces of home. We can make new Earths out here. She looked around at the busy people. And we're free. No one tells us we're not good enough for a seat at their table. Back in Council space, things got worse. A hospital ship sent urgent messages when their medical equipment failed. The doctors had never learned how humans maintained the machines that saved lives. The Ardavian farming worlds reported poor harvests. The special plants that humans had created to grow in their soil were dying. No one else knew how to care for them properly. At the next council meeting, fights broke out between representatives. The Volturians blamed the Taraxians for insulting the humans. The Centauri blamed the council leadership for not giving humans full membership when they had the chance. Vril tried to keep order, but his voice was lost in the shouting. 9,000 years of council unity was breaking apart. On a small trade world at the edge of council space, an alien dock worker found a message carved into a metal wall. It must have been left by a human before they departed. The message was simple. We didn't leave because we had to. We left because you never saw our true value. Maybe now you will. The worker took a picture of the message and sent it to friends. Soon it spread across council space. Many aliens began to understand what they had lost. Some began to wonder if the mighty council could survive without the humans they had taken for granted. Meanwhile, on New Horizon, and 30 other new human settlements, a new society grew. Free from council rules, human creativity bloomed. They built better ships, better computers, better medicines. They were not running away. They were starting fresh. A full year passed since the humans disappeared. The council finally had some good news. Their scout ships had found a small human outpost on a distant moon. It seemed to be a research station that the humans had not fully evacuated. The council sent their best diplomat, Grand Emissary Foxval, to speak with the humans. His ship was large and beautiful, designed to impress. 20 council guards went with him, wearing their finest uniforms. When they reached the moon, they found a small human base with just 10 people. The humans did not seem surprised to see aliens arriving. They sent a message. We will meet with your diplomat at the neutral location we are sending coordinates for. Foxval was confused. Why would such a small group make demands? But he agreed to their terms. The meeting place was a flat plain on the moon's surface. The council ship landed, and Foxval stepped out with 5 guards. A small human shuttle landed nearby. From it came an older man with gray hair and steady eyes. He wore a simple blue suit with a small Earth symbol on the collar. His name was Gregory Walsh, and he had been a top human negotiator for 20 years. Welcome, Greg said calmly. I am authorized to speak for the Human Confederation. Foxval bowed slightly. I bring greetings from the Galactic Council. We are pleased to finally make contact with your people again. They sat at a simple table the humans had set up. Foxval's guards stood back, watching carefully. The Council has sent me with a generous offer, Foxval began. We invite humanity to return to Council space. You will be given full membership with 3 votes instead of the usual one. You will control 2 of the richest trade routes. All past misunderstandings will be forgotten. Greg listened politely. When Foxval finished, the human was quiet for a moment. You misunderstand our position, Greg finally said. We didn't leave to get better terms from the Council. We left because the relationship was never equal. You saw us as tools, not partners. Fox Val's skin changed color with surprise. But surely you must see how things have changed. Many systems are failing without human expertise. The Council needs. That's exactly the problem. Greg interrupted. You need. You always needed. But you never respected. You never treated us as equals. Greg stood up from the table. Humanity is open to having relationships with individual species if they treat us with respect. But the Council as a group has shown it cannot change its old ways of thinking. Foxval also stood, his voice urgent now. Please at least consider our offer. Take it to your leaders. Greg nodded. I will tell them what you said. But their answer will be the same as mine. As Greg turned to leave, he stopped and looked back. One more thing. This outpost you found. We left it here on purpose. We knew you would find it eventually. We wanted a way to talk with you without revealing where the rest of humanity has gone. Foxval realized then that the humans had planned everything perfectly. Even this meeting was part of their plan. The human shuttle left, returning to the small base. Later that day, Foxval watched from orbit as the humans packed up their equipment and left in their ship. Soon, the moon was empty again, with no trace of where the humans had gone. When news of the failed meeting reached Council space, many alien species were upset. 7-member races immediately asked for direct contact with humans, separate from the Council. They sent messages to every corner of space, hoping humans would hear and respond. In her office on the Council world, Vril received more bad news. 2 more member species had announced they were leaving the Council. They felt the Council had failed by driving humans away. She looked out at the once mighty Council Tower. For 9,000 years, it had been the center of galactic politics. Now, just 1 year after humans left, it was beginning to crumble. On New Horizon, Greg Walsh reported to President Foster about the meeting. They offered us everything we asked for before we left, he said. The president smiled slightly. Too late. We found something better than a seat at their table. We've built our own table. 2 years after humanity's departure, the Galactic Council officially broke apart. The mighty alliance that had stood for 9,000 years could not survive the absence of its youngest members. The Ardavian hegemony and their allies were the first to formally withdraw. Councillor Zeltrax made the announcement to a half-empty council chamber. The Council's failure to properly value human contributions was a serious mistake, he said, his 4 arms moving with emphasis. This body has shown it cannot adapt to change. The Ardavian worlds will seek our own path forward. No one was surprised. For months, the Ardavians had been building direct relations with 3 human outposts. They had agreed to trade Ardavian metals for human technology. A month later, the economic bloc led by the Volturians also left the Council. Without human mediators, old fights between species grew worse. Trade disputes turned into small space battles. Former allies accused each other of stealing technology or breaking agreements. At what would be the final full Council session, only 11 of the original 42 members attended. The Great Chamber, built to hold hundreds, echoed with emptiness. Zorax, the blue crystal Xeraxian, who had once dismissed humans as too emotional, offered a bitter observation to the few who remained. They were the glue that held our different parts together, he said, his crystal body dull and lifeless. We never saw it until they were gone. 9,000 years of history, undone in just 2. Meanwhile, the human confederation grew stronger. Their settlements expanded to 38 worlds. Free from Council restrictions on technology, human inventors created new ships, new medicines, and new power sources. President Diane Foster finished her term, and a new leader was elected. President Kevin Russell had been a colony governor before the Exodus. He understood the challenges of building new worlds. In his first speech as president, Kevin spoke about humanity's future. We did not leave Council space to hide forever. We left to build something better. A society where all voices matter, where innovation is celebrated, not controlled, where we decide our own destiny. People cheered his words. The pain of leaving Earth was still real, but their new worlds were becoming home. Children born after the Exodus knew only stories about the Council and its treatment of humans. On a former Council world, now independent, an alien child asked her parent about the humans. Did they really make the Council fall apart just by leaving? The child asked. The parent, a tall being with 6 eyes, looked thoughtful. They didn't mean to break the Council. They just wanted to be treated fairly. But the Council was like an old building with bad foundations. When the humans left, those bad parts couldn't hold anymore. Will they ever come back? The child asked. I hope so, the parent said. Many worlds would welcome them now, as friends, not servants. At the edge of known space, a human patrol ship detected an unusual signal. Captain Ben Howard ordered his crew to investigate. They found a damaged alien ship drifting in space. Inside were representatives from 5 former Council species. Their ship had been attacked by pirates while they searched for human settlements. We've been looking for months, their leader said when brought to the human ship. Many independent worlds want to open talks with humans, not as Council members, but as equals. Captain Howard sent a message to President Russell about the visitors. The response came quickly. Bring them to New Earth. It's time we started building new bridges. In what had been the Council Tower, Vril sat alone in an empty room. Most Council offices were closed now. Only a few dedicated officials remained, trying to keep some basic functions working. On her desk was a message from the Human Confederation. It was the first direct communication from human leadership since the Exodus. The message was simple. The old Council is dying, but something new can grow in its place. If you wish to discuss a different kind of galactic organization, one built on true equality and respect, we are ready to listen. Vril looked out at the fading glory of the Council world. Perhaps, she thought, something better really could rise from these ruins. 5 years had passed since the human exodus. The old Council was now just a memory. In its place, loose alliances formed between different alien species. Some worlds prospered on their own. Others struggled without the support they once had. A large ship entered human space. It carried representatives from 23 former Council species. They came not as rulers or superiors, but as visitors hoping to build new connections. Admiral Daniel Jackson, once a young captain in Earth's fleet, now served as the diplomatic chief for the Human Confederation. He stood in the greeting hall of New Earth's spaceport, watching the alien ship dock. "They're right on time," said his assistant. Daniel nodded. His gray hair and lined face showed the years of hard work building humanity's new home. "Make sure everyone remembers the protocol. These are not Council representatives anymore. They come as equals." The aliens walked from their ship in a colorful parade of different shapes and sizes. Some floated, some crawled, some walked on many legs. Leading them was a familiar face. Vril, the former Council head. "Welcome to New Earth," Daniel said, bowing slightly. Vril bowed in return, deeper than Daniel had. "Thank you for allowing us to visit. We have much to discuss." In the great meeting hall, the aliens sat with human representatives. President Samantha Hughes, the third leader since the Exodus, entered the room. Everyone stood to show respect. Samantha was younger than most human leaders before her. She had been just a student when the Exodus happened. This new galactic reality was normal to her generation. "Friends from across the stars," she began, "we welcome you to our home. 5 years ago, humanity left the Council space to find our own path. We have built new colonies, new technologies, and new ways of living. We have prospered in our independence." The aliens listened carefully. Many had translation devices in their ears. "But we did not leave to hide forever," Samantha continued. "Nor did we leave to watch the old order fall. We left to find our dignity, to prove our worth. Now that we have done that, perhaps it is time to build new bridges between our peoples." Vril stood to speak for the visitors. The old council is gone. It could not survive without humans, though we didn't understand that until too late. Many worlds have suffered in these 5 years. Some have thrived. But all of us have learned important lessons. She looked around the room, her eyes meeting both human and alien gazes. We propose a new organization. Not a council that rules from above, but a confederation of equals. Each species with the same voice, the same rights, the same responsibilities. Murmurs filled the room as people discussed this idea. Some humans looked worried. Others seemed interested. In her private office later that day, President Hughes met with her advisors. "What do you think?" she asked them. "Can we trust this new approach, or will it become the old council with a new name?" An older man spoke up. "We've proven we can survive on our own. Our position is strong. If we help shape this new confederation, we can make sure it doesn't repeat old mistakes." Samantha nodded, thinking carefully. She looked out the window at the busy streets of New Earth's capital city. Humans walked with purpose, building a society they could be proud of. The next day, she returned to the meeting hall. The alien representatives waited nervously for her answer. "Humanity did not leave to watch you fall," she told them. "We left to find our own path, to build our own future with our own hands. We have done that." She paused, looking at each alien face. "And now, perhaps, it is time for all of us to build something together. Not as masters and servants, but as true equals. If that is truly what you offer, then we accept." The room filled with sounds of relief and happiness. The aliens had feared rejection, knowing how badly their predecessors had treated humans. As the meeting ended, Vril approached Samantha privately. "Thank you," the alien said simply. "The galaxy needs humanity's voice." Samantha smiled. The old council crumbled the day humans left. But from those ruins, something much better can grow. Something we build together, as equals, learning from past mistakes. Outside the window, ships from dozens of worlds filled the sky of New Earth. A new age of galactic cooperation was beginning, with humanity as full partners from the start.